Thumbs up. So let's start. Thank you for everybody who is here live, um, and everyone who's going to be listening to this or watching it via the recording. Thank you to you as well. So I'd like to start and let everybody know that you're a business owner. And a lot of you may say, well, I work 40 hours a week. I have a job. I'm not a business owner, Sharif. What are you talking about? But to be exact, everybody is a business owner because you want in two ways. You want to make your money work for you, and then to everyone who has a regular job who is employed, you're a business owner yourself. When you marketed your skills, you may have sent in a resume, you may have had to go to an interview, but you were marketing, you were selling your skills to that potential client who is now your employer, who will be paying you to work. Now, to start, I want to use this as an example. Everybody here should know what this is, Monopoly. Play Monopoly. You go every time you pass go, you get $200, right? Everybody knows that. The banker, you have to ask the banker, but you get you $200. Now imagine going around the game and you're playing just to get your $200, but you don't own anything. You don't own any assets or any houses, any hotels. So you're not bringing in additional money. Your money is not working for you. Your money should be working for you when you're sleeping. For example, through stocks, dividends, through investments. You may want to start an ATM business. You may want to start a vending machine business. Whatever that may be, it could be a side hustle, but your money should be working for you while you're sleeping because that is your business. Now, I like to tell people to be successful, you have to mind your own business. Now, you might hear that a lot as well. I'm not talking about being nosy, how most people use it, or snooping around in other people's business, but minding your business is minding your money, seeing where your money is going in and out, your finances, and how your money is earning you more money. So, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a realtor, and currently, how I make money from real estate is when someone looks to go, they want to buy a house or they want to sell their house that they own. I negotiate for them. I show them the house. I help them write up the contracts, and I talk to different inspectors. I get them insurance. Now, every one of you, if you wanted to, you could be a realtor as well. And realtors get 3% from each house they sell. For example, if it's $100,000 house, you get 3,000. And then for people who you help buy a house, it goes the same with people who sell a house. And there's other options to make money through real estate. You can be a wholesaler, and to wholesale real estate, you don't even have to be 18. So if you're 16 and you have an adult or one of your parents that would sign off for you and get the contract in their name, you can start wholesaling today. And finally, how you can make money through real estate is it by flipping real estate or by owning investment properties. So if you get, say for example, a property that's been foreclosed on, or someone has to sell it quick, they got a new job, they got to move here, then you can get that property. When you put some work into it, you can either sell it for more or you can rent it out every month. So like in Monopoly, when those people, when they land on your property, they pay rent. They pay that to you every month. So I'm going to give a quick outline. Today we're going to have our speakers. We're going to have Josh Laurent. He's going to be speaking next. Well, no, we're going to start with AJ. We're going to have AJ speak. And AJ, you can tell everybody about credit. You got to unmute first. There we go.
Sharif, for having me here. So first and foremost, I want to introduce myself. My name is AJ De La Rosa once more. I'm a agent relationship manager at Quicken Loans. I'm also a licensed loan officer there. So my job is to oversee all of our brokers and agents in Michigan. And I communicate with our realtors also, as well as their clients as well. Their referred clients, their VIP clients that refer over to me. And sometimes I do reach out to clients personally myself when Sharif calls me. I don't care if it's like early in the morning or 12 o'clock at night. I pick up because he's my VIP agent because he does deliver, and I intend to do the same thing as well. So, and we talk about some issues with the client, because what Sharif does, he says, hey, AJ, I got a client with a really low credit score. This is the financial issues. Can you help? Can you help the client out? You know, so he does go above and beyond and reaches out to me for help. So in terms of credit, though, there's a few things I want you guys to keep in mind when it comes to credit. Okay. So number one, your credit, it's like your job interview, you know, it's like, let's say you're trying to apply for a loan, for a mortgage or a car loan, or even a furniture store. Rest in peace, Art Van, you know, but it's like a job interview, and your credit score is important. It kind of ranks you from being an A+ student to a D student or F student, you know. But the good thing about credit, though, guys, you can still work on it and repair it. And my team does that for you. As long as Sharif refers you over, we're going to take great care of you guys. So you probably heard it's all right. Credit is king. You guys heard it, right? Credit is king. All right. Yeah. Give me a thumbs up on that. That's important. 100%. So the minimum credit score to qualify to get approved for a mortgage with us is 580. And that's the very lowest you can ever go in the market. Most lenders won't even approve clients that are, unless you're in the 650 or 620s, but our company does that. So it's 580 and above. So that's like starting off as a D student. And then my company steps in there and helps you build your credit as well. And in terms of building your credit, there's a few things you have to know, right? So number one, two things to be exact. So there is your installment debts, right? Installment debts. And then there's your revolving debts. So your installment debts are your debts like the, like, let's say a car loan, right? Let's say you bought a new Mercedes or a Lexus or a new Jeep or whatever. You got to pay those, you got to pay that sucker every single month, right? If not, you get dinged on bad credit. So that's important. Installment debts, right? And then the second thing is your revolving debts. Your revolving debts are like your credit card from Chase, Capital One, whatever. Now, those two things are important because that pretty much makes up a lot of your, what's in your credit report and how to improve it or repair it as well, right? So, and how that kind of segues into how to build your credit. Okay, let's say Sharif refers Josh over. Josh needs a little bit of work on his credit, right? So what we have to do is pull the credit report and we take a look at all three credit scores. There's the first credit score is from Equifax, the second one is TransUnion, and then the third one is from Experian, right? So all three credit bureaus report three different credits. So we take a look, whatever the middle score is, whether it's a 580 all the way up to an A+ student, like a 800 credit score, 700 credit score. Those are really good, right? So if your credit score is 580 and above, then we can go ahead and possibly get you guys qualified into getting into a mortgage, right? But hey, credit score is only one piece of the puzzle, right? So there's also what's being reported there in your credit report. For example, remember that installment debt and remember that revolving debt, guys? So there's also other debts in there, maybe medical debts, you know, maybe there's other debts as well that just came up, I don't know, or bankruptcies and whatnot. So it's not just a credit score, it's also what's being reported in your credit report. And whatever it is, if there's an issue, then my team and I step in there. I personally give you maybe a financial advice. My VIP bankers does, my credit consultants, all do that for you guys at no cost whatsoever, as long as Sharif refers you. You know, so he's the man. We do a lot for him. So, but in terms of how to build your credit, I don't know exactly what your credit scores are or what's in your credit report, but every credit profile is different. So what I'm saying that because, you know, I mean, I have student loans from Michigan State, you know, Sharif has student loans from law school. So, you know, his pops or everybody, you know, everybody has different debts, but we have to take a look at it and analyze it and figure out what the best solutions are for you. But if you're your typical guy that, let's say, hey, hold on, I may be late on some payments or maybe my credit score is too low. These are like two quick things you can, well, a few quick things you can do in terms of how to build your credit. So obviously the first issue is like, I have no credit. Well, I have no credit, then maybe all you got to do is open up a line of credit. You know, first thing you can do is very simple. Open up a secure card. When I first started, my credit wasn't so hot before. This is like 10 years ago back in Michigan State. I wasn't taking care of business yet. But what I did was I opened up a secured line of credit. Let's say Capital One. I put like $150 in there, and when I opened it, I spent only 30% the maximum that you're approved for. For example, let's say you're approved for $100 you're spending. Don't go past $30, guys. At least spend $10. Buy a piece of gum and I don't know, and then pay it off before 10 days before it's due. So that way it shows that you're making payments on it. It shows history, and you can show an activity, because by getting a credit card and not spending on it and just letting it sit there ain't gonna do nothing, so it's not gonna do nothing. So you got to show activity on it. Plus, a second thing, guys, in how to build your credit, you know what? Just like with anything else, you got to give it some time. So you got to give it a little bit of time. You got to let it sit there, marinate a little bit. Show the credit bureaus, like those 3 credit bureaus I told you about with the 3 credit scores, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. Those guys, they look at your credit history like it's like a job interview, right? And also, it kind of shows your history and how responsible you are as a consumer here. So, well, those are pretty much the quick things in terms of how to build your credit. You got no credit, open a secured line of credit. Okay. Now, the second thing, make sure you don't go past 30% of the maximum amount, and pay that sucker off before 10 days before closing, guys. 10 days before it's due. I say closing. I'm so used to closing, I had like 41 closings last month. So, but yeah, so you got to pay that off. So, so overall, guys, I'm not sure how I'm doing on time right now, but when you're when you're taking care of your credit, remember, credit is king. You can't get approved for anything if you don't fix on your credit. I had a lot of clients who are, I got $300,000 in the bank. I can pay this. This house in cash, or I make great income. I'm an attorney, or I'm a doctor, but my man, you're a doctor, but your credit score is below 580. I can't help you, right now, but I can give you some really great advice. So that way, in 2 to 3 months, I'll follow up with you. Sharif will follow up with you. We'll get you back on board and getting you qualified. So that's why I say credit is so important. And this is where it really starts. And plus, for those of you guys like young entrepreneurs out there, especially my man Chase over there, I know he's going to get this 800 credit score. He's an A+ student. So you want to make sure you start early and start working on your credit here, because if you start working on your financial muscles, those muscles of your finances, you're going to get used to doing the right things, especially if you got Sharif and his pops to lead you guys with finances too as well. And me, yeah, nothing's stopping you. You just got to make really great decisions. But those great decisions first start off with making sure your credit is good. You got to flex those muscles a little bit. Start working it a little bit. Don't be afraid. If you guys need anything, I'm going to shoot my contact information there. I can help you guys out, when it comes down to it. But I know, Sharif, you got a whole amazing program here. I'm so excited to be here. So we're going to leave questions at the end, or you can shoot me a text message on my personal cell phone. That's right. Because all you guys are Sharif's friends. You guys are my friends too. So I'm gonna hook you guys up. But Sharif, is there anything that I missed that you want me to address as well? Anything?
If you want to add a little bit in about like issues with credit or like disputes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So with disputes, I'm gonna tell you guys this. I don't care what that lady in the 1-800 number and the credit bureau says, hey, you can pay it off in half, or and we can just say paid it in full, or we can say you've made an arrangement to pay it. I don't care what they say. What you got to do is say, hey, I'm not paying nothing unless you remove this thing out of my credit report, delete it. And if they say, I'm sorry, Mr. De La Rosa, I can't do that for you. I got to talk to my supervisor. Well, go and get your supervisor then. You want my money? I'm going to go ahead and give you my money if you promise to delete this out of my credit report, because I don't want to show this on my history. This is bad on my record. I'm trying to get a clean record, trying to buy a house, trying to buy that new Maserati, whatever it is, what you want to buy, you got to get it deleted. So disputes, yes, pay it off, but make sure it's deleted, zip, and then what else in terms of disputes? Yes, but do call them. You have to call them. And if you're going through some financial hardship, at the very beginning, I didn't always work for a great company, and I always didn't know Sharif in the very beginning. But I was telling you about Michigan State. I wasn't that responsible with my finances. I was just trying to graduate. So I didn't have a lot of great debts, right? Didn't have a lot of good credit, and I had a lot of debts. So what I had to do was really, work on it and build it up. And then my student loans, I didn't have a job in the first month. I graduated right away. I had to make the decision to call the financial, the student loans folks, and then say that, hey, I'm going through some hardship, and hardship being graduate from a big university owing hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't got no job yet. Can you please put it on deferment, or can you help me out with the payment arrangement? So what I'm saying, guys, just like flexing your financial muscles, you cannot just let things sit there. You got to take action. You got to take some responsibility for your finances and make those phone calls, just like with disputes, or making sure that your credit doesn't go bad. Don't let it sit. After 30 days is when credit bureaus start sending out reports about your credit score. Not 25 days, but 30 days. So if your payment is due in 30 days, pay it in 20 days. You know what I'm saying? My dog is barking, my bad.
Thank you, AJ. So if you weren't taking notes, just to summarize a few of the key points from AJ, he talked about how through Quicken Loans, one of the best, and if you use AJ, you'll be with the best lender in the world, but they can get you approved for 500 or 80 or better. He talked about the 3 different credit bureaus, and if you have no credit, Matt said in the comment section, he said, no credit is better than bad credit. He talked about you can open up a secured card, and if you do that, whatever type of card you have, you only want to spend 30% of your limit, and you want to pay it off as soon as possible. And you also want to have activity. If you have anything that's bad on your credit report, you want to file a dispute. And that sums up the credit. Our next speaker is going to be Matt Barnett. And Matt, he's a realtor as well. He has his own podcast, and he also has his own commercial investment company. And he's got one of the greatest stories I've heard. So we'll turn it over to Matt.
Awesome. Thank you. Sharif, first of all, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm honored. I'm super pumped. AJ, you killed it. Sounds like you have another realtor coming your way. Everyone else, before I go over my story, who I am and what I do and everything, I have to say that if you're even in this call right now, because I'm going to get motivational, you already have the right mindset and you're here for a reason, and it's time to take action on those things that you're trying to accomplish now. Let me, first of all, before I skip ahead, my name is Matt Barnett. I'm with Bold Realty Group out of Keller Williams, Plymouth. I'm also on Bold Construction. We also have, sorry, AJ, we have Bold Credit Repair as well. And I'm not going to skip ahead. I do a lot. Barnett Capital, but feel like I'm missing something. Anyways, so on our team, we got like 4 people on our real estate team. And, this year, we're going to do about 20 million in sales, and this will actually be our best year. COVID or not, we've been top producers in our office every month, and we have almost 300 agents out of this office. So as a team, we've been killing it. I'm pumped. AJ, I look forward to bringing you business now. Yeah, I actually learned a few things about credit just now, so I'm excited for that. So let me jump into my story, though. I know Sharif said I had a pretty amazing story. I remember telling him this at one of the meetups we went to, which is how we met. And I'm going to get into the importance of networking and how we're even all right here right now. I originally was kind of, let's say 17, 18. I was in high school. I was working on cars. I went to like vocational school to work on cars and stuff. All my friends worked on cars. I was kind of following the herd. So then they were like, oh, I'm going to college for high performance and mechanics and diesel technology and stuff. And in my mind at the time, I'm like, okay, diesel techs, they make good money, whatever. I had no idea what I was doing with myself, right? I'm just kind of following the herd. And I would say I think I had 4 months left of college that I wanted to drop out. I think I would say that's when I woke up in life. I kind of figured out who I really was. And sometimes you have to go through weird things like going to college for a degree you don't want to figure out who you are. And that's completely fine. And I was working at Menards at the time. From 4 a.m. was when I started to like 3 or something stocking wood. And it was the same 8 songs that played every morning. And I had these songs memorized. I hated what I was doing. Once that like light almost clicks and I would say you wake up in life and you know that you accomplished way more than what you're capable of. I remember having my Menards vest on. I took it off, set it on the wood, walked out, never came back. Now, if you have a full-time job, do not do that. If that's your source of income, don't walk out of your job. But what I did was I immediately went to AJ. I immediately went to good old Google. I'm a college kid, haven't figured myself out, but somehow I'm like, I'm better than this. I'm Googling, I'm like thinking about all these ways to make money and stuff, and stocks came up, and stocks didn't last long. I'm not a professional stock trader or anything. I bought some shares in Kohl's, woke up the next morning, it said Kohl's lowered their guidance. I'm like, that must be good. Sure enough, it wasn't. I lost a lot of money on that. I have not traded stock since besides oil, which DWTI and UWTI, I can't remember, but I traded oil for a little bit. It was fun, but I still didn't feel like that was for me. So I started Googling more investing stuff, and I came across what's called Forex, which is currencies. And I love trading Forex. I remember sitting in my class because I had evening classes, 3 to 6. And we had a class, and it's 2020, we have computers and stuff, and they're going over online manuals in class and stuff. I'm in the back of the class trading currencies, right? Like it was completely different. And I got really good at trading currencies to where I was paying off all my debt. I was paying off each semester. I was paying off all my books and everything. College books were like $400 or $500 a semester, which is annoying. But I was trading and making this money, and I'm covering my books and stuff. And it was kind of like a break-even thing. Wouldn't say I profit too much, but I made enough to cover those things, and it was really fun. And I got noticed by a guy, Mark, who owns MetaRupted. Shout out to him. I hope he's doing well. Haven't talked to him in a while. And hired me onto his mentorship website, and that's when it all went south. I turned into a guru, charging people $97 a month, how to trade, do all this stuff, and I quickly learned that is also not for me. Back to Google, wholesaling real estate. What is that? Sure enough, get out of college, and I get into wholesaling. I'm like, I don't have any money. I'm a broke college kid, and I'm not going to use my degree. I'm basically starting over in life. So wholesaling was that. My first year in wholesaling, I did 28 deals. My very first deal was a nightmare. Actually just had the same thing happen. My first deal, I had a hot water tank and furnace stolen. I literally just had that happen as a real estate agent, which is funny, but I've since been in real estate as an agent for 3 years now, 3.5. And it's fun. I love it. I love working with my clients and everything. And if you're in here, you Sharif and his father, obviously, they're amazing. And then I recently, I kind of go on this little trend here. And then I've been in real estate for a few years as an agent, and I absolutely love it. I plan on being an agent for a long time. But then I came across multifamily real estate. We sold off we did get residential rentals, and we sold all those off. I'm like, man, it's time for a big move. There's active and passive income. Active income as an agent, I don't get paid unless I'm working, doing these things and closing deals. That's active income. Passive income is getting paid every single month from cash flow, such as multifamily real estate. I don't have too much time, so I would love to go into it. I could talk hours about it. Yeah, Monopoly, Passco, cash flow, just like that. Every single month you're getting paid. So I started Barnett Capital. It's a real estate investment firm. We've raised over $660,000 because that'll go towards the first deal from investors. And this is where I'm going to skip the grind mentality section of this and go straight to the importance of networking. And that's where I met Sharif. Absolutely amazing. I look forward to meeting all of you in real life at some point, but I've always said that your network equals your net worth, not literally, but the people you know is going to make things a lot easier when you're trying to raise money for multifamily. More people you talk to, even fellow realtors, if they're not an investor-friendly realtor, they will still refer you investors. Like, that's just how it works. I think networking is very, very important. And to keep it, try to connect it, I guess I could say, is why I started a podcast. So I started the Open Door Real Estate Podcast. I've only had 10 or 11 episodes so far, but we've had over $1 billion worth of guests on there that also syndicate and purchase multifamily real estate. Why did I do that? I'm putting myself in front of these people. It's kind of hard right now with COVID. I miss going to meetups and everything. But you put yourself in front of these people and they have the money. Like, I'm not worth $10 million, but I'm underwriting $10 million deals. But I know a guy that owns $500 million worth of real estate that will gladly sign on that deal, obviously for a portion of the deal. But I've built that relationship. He just spent an hour with me on a podcast. He's educating myself as he's educating my viewers, and I'm still providing value to all those people at the same time. So it's literally a never ending circle. I actually really like that Monopoly thing. I've never even thought about that. You're pass and go. And as you're doing that, Next time you come back around with Go, you're coming back with more connections, a bigger network, you get paid, and it keeps going. But I do believe, I know I'm going over a little bit. Oh, not yet. I believe in providing endless value. I don't think it has to be right this second. It can be 8 months from now, a year from now. Keep those connections. And even if you have to provide free value to those you're surrounded with, it'll all come back to you at some point and be completely worth it. And I'm just going to touch on the grind mentality real quick, since I'm getting all motivational. It's not necessarily a grind mentality. You're all here. You have the mentality. You care about something. You're passionate about something. You just have to figure out what and give it your all. It's not necessarily mentality. It's not like, oh, I'm hustling, whatever you want to call it. You need to figure out what your why in life is. I can't tell you what it is. No one else in here can tell you what it is. You have to figure that out. And if you want to know how tough it is, I've been in a hot tub drunk at 2 a.m. crying, trying to figure out my why before. Don't tell anyone else I told you that. But it's only you can figure out your why. And once you do, I can tell you when I found my why, college, when I woke up. That's when you wake up and like figure out your why. Thank you, Sharif. I'm not going to go over my time. I hope I motivated you guys. AJ and everyone else providing excellent content. I motivated you. Now go take action on it.
Thank you, Matt. I couldn't tell the story any better. And everybody, remember how Matt said, network is your net worth. So everybody remember Matt, and whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you're ready to go get a multifamily, when you want to get an investment, when you want to put some houses or some hotels on your property, Matt is the guy that you need to see. You can also listen to his podcast, and we'll send out an email with all that information after. So our next speaker is Josh Laurent. And Josh, many of you, probably most of you have seen him or heard him. If you've been driving anywhere around Canton or Belleville, you've heard him in his car as well. So he's going to talk about how he got his car so young. He's going to talk about the daily applications of credit and about being an entrepreneur. So we'll give it to Josh.
All right, what's up? Thanks, Sharif, for having me, man. It feels good. No cap. So I want to talk about a little entrepreneurship and how like the grind really is and how to motivate yourself and everything like that. So first, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Josh. I go by Josh Laurent. I do YouTube and I have my own brand and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. And so I'm gonna just start off with my story. And my story isn't like I feel like I have a pretty basic story when it comes to it, because I know I always wanted to motivate people, like how Matt was talking about find your why and stuff. But I felt like when I was younger, I always wanted to be something in life, to where it's like I motivated a whole bunch of people and did good in the world. Because at first I wanted to be a scientist when I was little, and then just moved all the way on until I think I want to say I was 16, because I was a junior in high school. And then I realized I was funny and stuff. And so then I'm like, I might as well just do YouTube. And then that's just how it happened. I just started doing YouTube, and now I have 212,000 subscribers. And I do a lot of card content and all that type of stuff. But with YouTube, I also branched out to other incomes, which is like I branched out to my brand, and I do a little consulting with like YouTube and stuff. Like I have my YouTube method and all of that stuff. I tried investing like stocks and stuff, but I'm too impatient. That's not for me. I tried that, but I'm too impatient. So you got to have patience for stocks, I believe. I can't do that. But yeah, I go through all that. And so I want to say this to people who want to do things that they think is impossible. Like you would look at yourself and be like, man, I can't be a YouTuber and all that stuff. I want to say this. It's a lot of things in life that I thought was impossible. First, I thought me getting the car I have now was impossible. Me blowing up on YouTube was impossible. It's like, what are the chances of you being able to do this? And a lot of other things in life that you would think is impossible really isn't that impossible. It's really possible. Just like how I'll be like, because right now I'll say $633 a month for my car. And then I was thinking like, how am I gonna be able to afford $600 a month? That's like almost $1,000, So it's like once you actually do it and put your mind to it, you can really do it. And that's the best part for real. So you put your mind to something and you could do it. And that's the same with YouTube. Now, like Matt said, once you find out your why and you go after that, you can do anything. And like I always like to say is, you always have to do something you're passionate about. Just because, like, if you do something just for money, you're not gonna make it far. Like with YouTube, it's a lot of people, you hear people saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I want to do it for money and all this stuff." They make a lot of money, and I like to say, if you aren't passionate about it, you aren't gonna make it, because there is a time where I sat there. I want the double upload. I sat there all night, didn't go to sleep till like 9 in the morning, just for those 2 videos to do terrible. And if you, that passion kept me going, because if it was all about the money, I would have quit right there. But that passion you have for it, that deep down motivation you have for it, will keep you going. And you don't ever want to lose that deep down motivation, because that's what really keeps you going. And so right now, when I first got my car, I was 17. So my car is in my mom's name. And now I've been building my credit and stuff ever since I'm 19 now. I was 18. And I just, for my Saint Squad that's in here that hasn't seen the video yet, it's going up tomorrow. But yesterday I just ordered my first Hellcat Red Eye charger. So I ordered the Hellcat Red Eye charger, and this before they even became available to order to everyone else. So I feel good, and it's like, it's crazy how much you can achieve when you put your mind to stuff. So I ordered that. I'm only 19, and that's gonna be all on my own. So I just want to tell you guys that you can do anything you put your mind to. It might be people out there telling you, making you sound crazy and all this stuff, but one thing is, you don't got to listen to everyone. As long as you believe in yourself, that's all you need. Because when they start seeing you make it, that's when people is gonna hop on the wave and be like, "Oh, you can do this." Because even me, I had to prove to my mom that I could do this. Like at first, my mom was like, "Oh, you gotta go to college and all this stuff." I didn't go to college, and college not bad. I'm not saying that, but it's just school wasn't for me. So she was like, she always been like, "You gotta go to college and you gotta do this and all that. You gotta get a job and stuff." And there was times where literally I needed a job, but I just didn't. I kept going. And one thing I also want to say is, y'all, is you got to look out for the signs that God give you, because God gonna look out for you and he gonna bless you. And just look for those signs, man, and act upon them. Those gonna help too a lot. Really, those are really gonna help a lot too. So, like, credit is king, all that stuff. I believe all that stuff, man. And you can do whatever you put your mind to. It's all about timing. You gotta make sure the timing right, and the timing gonna come. The things gonna come you want. Everything gonna come that you need, man. And you can do anything you want to, man. Even if, I'm gonna go back to a time people were telling me, I never really had like a hate base, but I had some people who would tell me that my videos were boring and stuff and all that. You can't listen to those type of people. And then it's times where you want to give up on yourself. It was a time that I've given up on YouTube. I haven't uploaded in like a month or so. And then it's always good to have people around that motivate you, because I remember I was in the hotel with my friend Rob, like we was in the lobby and stuff. I was like, "Yeah, bro, I'm about to stop doing YouTube and stop all this stuff." He was like, "Bro, your videos is funny and all this stuff." He was telling me how good my videos were and stuff. So that's when I kept going. And now if I would have quit right there, I probably wouldn't even be here right now talking to y'all. I would be somewhere else in life, which is crazy. So never quit, y'all. Never give up, and just keep going, because it all matters. All gonna work out in the end. No cap. That's what I believe in, and that's why I just work hard all the time. You don't never want to give up. Never want to give up. That's the worst thing to do, because you would never, if you give up, you would never know where you would be in the future. Because if you really want something, you won't give up. And I feel like it's crazy, because I developed like an entrepreneur or even a motivational mindset since I was like really young. So I don't know. It's just crazy. And for me to tell y'all how I think of stuff is just, nothing is never impossible, because everything is possible. Just like you see somebody driving a Lambo down the street, you can get that. It's not I can't afford that, but it's how can I afford that? And now when you put your mind to stuff that you want, you can get it. You start getting easier. It's like the mindset you start developing. When you develop that, how can I do this? That's when it get easier. Like, let's say paying bills or something. I pay around, I want to say 1,500 a month in bills right now. But it's not, to me, it's not I can't afford it, but it's how can I afford it? And that's what brings up the multiple hustles and the multiple things you got to do to afford what you want, because I'm all about happiness in life. Okay, to be truly happy is the best thing ever, and I believe I'm truly happy. So I don't let money control me or none of that, but I live to be happy, and that's the best thing. So when you do what you're passionate about and you happy to do what you do, then you're gonna be good. So just know, before my time up, I don't want to go over, but just know, y'all, never give up on your dreams. Okay, never give up on your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you any different. As long as you believe in yourself, you can make it, and just keep going. Just keep going, no matter what, man. No matter how bad it's looking, because you're gonna have 10 bads, and then you're gonna be right here with the bads, and then that one good gonna put you all the way up here. It happened to me like multiple times, which is crazy. But yeah, y'all, be good, man. Never give up on your dreams and keep striving for greatness. And nothing is impossible. As long as you want it, you can get it. No cap.
Man, thank you, Josh. I know at least I heard it. You could hear the passion in his voice. That's the goal. When you can really do something that makes you that happy, you think backwards, like Josh said, not I can afford it, but how can I afford it? If you want this car, you start thinking, what can I do to get it? Can I make a YouTube channel like Josh did? Make the YouTube channel to pay for the car that you want. You think backwards. And he also pointed out some good points about having a good support group. When you feel like it's time to give up or you have no energy to keep going, when you surround yourself with those closest 5 people, like AJ said, they'll keep you pushing and they'll keep you going. So don't give up on yourself. So our next speaker, we've got 2 more speakers. I'm gonna introduce my father. He's my real estate broker, and to be a realtor, all salespersons, they go through a broker. So I'll let him talk.
Man, this is absolutely encouraging to see all of you young people. When I say I am excited, right? I am generally in meetings with people that are close in my age, but to see a number of young people who are here on this call today is encouraging, because that means you all are entrepreneurs in itself, right? Right. And so what I'm looking to give you is some jewels that Josh has talked about, Matt's talked about, AJ has talked about. But I want to just start by saying one thing, man. Sharif is actually really, really lit. And I'm using some of this terminology that you all potentially use, but he's not told you everything about himself, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sharif. Sharif has actually been an entrepreneur since he was like 10 years old. When we lived on our old street, I mean, Sharif was out cleaning mailboxes for $20 a mailbox. He would spray paint your mailbox with some shiny type of something for see-through glaze or something, clean the mailbox and charge our neighbors as he mess up their mailbox. Clearly is messed up when he's done, $20. And for some reason they were willing to pay him, right? And so I think his entrepreneurship, his skills, he's been honing this thing for a long time. But I want to just kind of tell you a little bit about myself, and then tell you how Sharif got into real estate, and then how you all, each one of you, can make a couple practical steps to increase your revenue per month. I've been a real estate investor about 20 years, right? And I actually started right when Sharif was about to be born. I was stressed out and like, I don't know how I'm gonna take care of myself. I was listening to these commercials. If you've ever seen commercials at night, you hear them, they say, I've been flipping houses for 20 years and I made 10,000, made 20,000. That's how I started. But I had a pressure because I had a son coming. And so I started buying houses. So in the city of Detroit, in my lifetime, I probably owned close to 1,000 houses. I owned close to 1,000 houses, flipped them. And we owned a number of houses, probably close at one time, close to almost $4 million, right? And during the period of time where I was getting out of the single family houses, Sharif was in 9th grade. I taught Sharif how to flip houses, right? So he was making a daily advertising to individuals overseas. He would communicate with them, and he would negotiate how much we would sell these houses for. So Sharif has actually been flipping houses now, if he's 20, just about 6 years. And finally, last year, he became a real estate agent. So he's very versed in real estate. He's actually been giving me tips on stuff to do lately, because sometimes as you get involved in real estate, you actually forget things, right? But so that's just a little bit about Sharif. But here's some practical things that AJ talked about, Matt talked about, Josh talked about. The one thing I want to make sure you take away from this conversation tonight: you can never do anything if you never get started, right? That means you have to get started, and getting started requires that you're going to fail, right? You're going to fail. And I'm the first person that comes to my mind, only because I'm thinking about sports right now. If you remember, Michael Jordan never made the basketball team the first time. He actually got cut, right? So if you're expecting that you're going to win your first time out on the floor playing, and I'm saying in the real life of, this life is called this game of life. If you expect that you're going to win immediately, is an absolute false statement, right? So the first thing that in real estate, if you're going to win, if you're taking notes, and Sharif is recording this, I want you to first thing you're going to do, you're going to get a copy of all 3 of your credit reports. If you have absolutely no credit, like Matt said, that is a great thing. Now you want to say, how am I going to get started and buy me a flip? I want you to find 4 to 6 credit cards that you can buy, 4 to 6 secured credit cards, right? And there's credit card companies out here, and Sharif at some point will put together a spreadsheet and send them around. You want 4 to 6 credit cards, right? Now, because all of you are young, if your parents have some credit cards, I want you to immediately have them add you to their credit cards. Add you to their credit cards. Don't add you to a credit card that has a $5,000 balance and it has $4,950 on it. I want you to be added to a credit card. You see, AJ said, no, you're over your debt to income ratio. You want to be added to a credit card with a 0 balance. I'm trying to hurry up and immediately increase your credit score. Like Sharif, his car's in his name. He has a number over $20,000 in the bank, right? But this is all his own hustle, right? His credit score is like close to 800. These are things that he's done, but I actually put him on a credit card, had him get some credit cards. Now I remove myself off of his credit cards after he established his credit. So he had a car in his name. He had like 5, 6 credit cards, Apple cards, MasterCard, Visa, all of the Discover, all of the cards that you need. Now, once you have the credit cards, right, and you got some credit, now that is the biggest thing that you can do for yourself now is, how do I find an investment property? And that is when you get on a call with Sharif and you figure out, are we going to buy a house from the Wayne County tax auction? Are we going to buy a house from foreclosure? Are we going to use a hard money lender to buy a house? If you're trying to buy a house, this is the scenario that you're looking for. Use this forever and you will make money. And then I'm going to get off the call so that someone else can jump on. If the house is worth $100,000, I want you to be buying this house at all in. I don't want you to be in a loan with rehab no more than $65,000. So that means you have bought the house potentially for $30,000. You put $20,000 into it. You in it at 50, right? Potentially you take a refinance and take 15 your way. Never ever be overextended on the investment side, because if ever you get into trouble, you owe $65,000 on it, you can immediately sell it for 90 at a discount and still make money, right? Does it make sense? So I'm gonna walk you back through it again. The ratio is, if it's worth 100,000, I don't want you all in, which includes rehab, purchase, and everything, owing no more than $65,000 on the house. How do you get there? The first way you get there first is you got to get 4 to 6 credit cards. After you get 4 to 6 credit cards, you will then now leverage some of your credit cards. You may be able to get a cash advance. If you get a loan from a hard money lender, right? Say a hard money lender gives you a loan for $65,000. They're going to want you to have about 15% down. How are you going to get the 15%? You're going to take some cash money off of your credit cards, put down the 15%, and you're going to try and sell that house immediately within 30 to 60 days. before that money show up on your credit and mess up your debt to income ratio. And that's the basic thing on how you're going to buy a house, an investment. And if you cannot buy that house, right, potentially maybe you buy a 2-family flat. You live in one side and you rent out the other side. Does that make sense? Live in one side, rent out the other side. This whole thing here, being an entrepreneur, is how do I make money off other people's money? But you got to get started. So the first step is order your credit reports, get 4 to 6 credit cards, and then now you got to pool your money together. And the last thing before I get off, I got to go. If you're working right now, I want you taking zero dependence, because I want you to get a tax return every year, so that you take your tax return, you get a tax return of about $1,500. You're going to take that $1,500 and you're going to try and find a piece of property that you can finance with that $1,500. Or you and 3 other people get together, $1,500, y'all got $6,000. Your buying power increases. That's it. Your credit is the most important thing. Some of you will buy a house or finance a house at some point in life. Sharif is going to be there for a realtor. You all are, it sounds like you're looking, how do I make some money immediately? Hopefully I gave you some helpful practical tips, how to get started, not next month, but right now. But you have to get started. Don't be scared to get started. Josh said something like, you got to find your why. Matt said you got to find your why. And AJ said, listen, you can always reach out to him to help find out how do you purchase a house if you need one for yourself, like a 2-family flat. That's my time. Listen, Sharif is actually very, very smart. He's a good networker. Don't let him underestimate or say, listen, I can't do this or that or whatever. Listen, he's a good guy. He's doing a lot that I don't even know about, like Monopoly games.
No, thank you, Dad. I appreciate it. I learned almost everything I know from him. He's the hardest working person I know. I barely made it 2 years in college before I decided I wanted to do real estate full time. He went 4 years in college, and then just a few years ago, he went back to law school. So that's a long 3 years. And that's a lot of studying and a lot of hard work. So he's the most hardworking, determined person I know. And we got about 8 minutes. I got a few minutes. Chase, you want to say something real quick? And then we're going to have Keys talk about stocks. So I'll turn it over to.
All right. Good morning. Good evening, everybody. One of the big things I wanted to talk about is using your resources. I think one of the big things is YouTube. Over probably like the past year, I was able to build like a whole 3D model, a whole house, which is like people like go to college and get well-paid jobs for something I did that I learned from YouTube. YouTube is like a really big thing that we can all learn something from. I built 2 PCs that it takes very long times, and you guys might not think you'll be able to do it, but you guys can always push through it. Just like Josh talked about how he was pushing through things. One thing that motivated me is if you guys ever seen Josh's car, like, oh man, I wish I was in there, or like a Lambo, that's a nice car, or you see someone hop on a private jet, like, ooh man, I wish I was right there. Like, you want to stay motivated and see where you can get stuff, because you guys have so many resources. You guys have Sharif, AJ, my dad, and Matt. So use your resources and always look around you is one big thing.
Yeah, thank you, Chase. I just want to add, if Chase was a realtor, I would refer you all to Chase, because Chase is a lot smarter than me. He sat on our kitchen table just from watching YouTube videos. He built an entire PC from the motherboard to all the little pieces all by himself in a night. And he's built multiple PCs. So I just like to thank Chase for coming on and giving us some of his knowledge, because he's I kid you not, a lot smarter than me. So we got about 5-6 minutes left. We'll turn it over to Keith. And Keith, he's the stock guru. He knows all about options trading. He's going to tell you what apps to use, how to watch the market, and how to just get started with stock investing.
Appreciate it, bro. What's up, everybody? My name is Marquis Spivey. I'm here pretty much to talk to you guys about investing through the stock market, whether it's long term or the day trading side with options. And the main thing I really want to encourage everybody to do is just to continue to generate several streams of income. You know, when you think about income, think about it as like when you look at any body of water, the ocean, or primarily a lake, that's your account. That's your money. That's your profit right there. The more streams you have, though, the bigger your lake will be, or the bigger your body of water will be. So I'm here to encourage people to do that through investing and through options. The reason I say investing is two types of way that I do it: long term and also day trading. Long term, that's for those who are patient, who want to play the waiting game. Those who can invest and just let their money make money, or they go and worry about the other streams of income. The best part about that is you don't have to work. You let the money do all the working for you. You do a little bit of analysis, you look at fundamentals, and then you let the money make your money on its own. The other means of income is through day trading, options trading. That's where you're making the money same day. You're looking at stocks, you look at the technicals, you look at the fundamentals, you buy in, and then based off of chart patterns and other stock market information, you can use that to help you get an idea of where a stock is going to go, when it's going to get there. That way, when it does, you can put your money out and take profit. I do both regularly. I teach it. The main thing I want to encourage people to do today is, pretty much be active. There's apps like Robinhood, E-Trade, Thinkorswim, Webull, that some of them offer free stocks right when you sign up. I throw a course that teaches people how to invest long term, how to trade daily. I went to school for this. I took courses to learn how to get a better understanding of what exactly I'm doing. That way I can teach it to other people. So it's not like it's something I'm just saying. It's something that I went to school for to learn how to do. I have a group chat that does a lot of talking, and where I throw signals live at to invest and to trade live daily right beside me. Even if you don't use any of those avenues, investing is one of the key ways to make money, in my opinion, at least, because that money will generate on its own. You don't need anybody else's help. You don't have to put work on your back, work on your shoulders. The money will make money on its own. And in doing that, you can then use that for your other streams of income, or it can generate money so you can put that money somewhere else. That's money you don't have to touch, or it can go over time. There's a lot of things that people don't understand or don't know about the stock market simply because they've never asked. I'm here to tell you guys that I'm the one that you can ask. If there's nobody else that you know who knows anything about stocks or stock market, I'm the one that you can ask. I'm the one that can point you in the right direction. Uh, there's plenty about stocks. There's plenty more I can go to in the detail, but I know Sharif brought me here just to encourage people to do that and encourage people to look into it. So that's all I'm encouraging people to do. It's important to have so many streams of income. At least, I would suggest at least 4. That way, if one gets stopped up, the other ones will pull through and keep you going. That way, you don't have to worry about when you lose your job, or what am I going to do now? What am I going to do next? You already have several streams of income already pouring in to your account at one time. So investing is definitely an avenue. It's something I've been successful at so far, something I'm going to keep pushing at and keep doing. Definitely going to end up linking up with Sharif and using some of my investing profits into real estate and other avenues. Since I'm not working for my investing money, I can actually focus my attention on other things. So, it's definitely other things you can look into. You can make YouTube your best friend. If not, you can ask me. You guys have my information. If not, Sharif will give it to you. And that's all I really have. But thanks for having me, Sharif. I wanted to make sure I kept it brief. But if you guys have any questions, you can hit me up, hit Sharif up, hit anybody else in the chat up, because it sounds like a lot of money being talked about in the chat. And it's looking like a lot of money in the chat right now as I look through the participants. So shout out to all you guys for even taking the time. That's it for me, Sharif.
Man, appreciate you, Keith. He's got one of the best stock chats. I've looked in it. I'm in it. I've made money from his signals, from his callings. And even if you don't want to do day trading, you can invest, like he said, invest in the simple companies that you know, things that you buy, things that you wear, places that you go. Invest in those things. And I'd like to thank everybody. We got 28 people on here. It's an amazing turnout. We're getting close to 6. If you want to stay, if you have any questions, you put them in the chat. You can stay and we'll answer as many questions as we can. But I appreciate everybody again. It's great to see everybody on here. Thank you. Additionally, I'm going to send out, so everyone that signed up, I'm going to send all the links to your email I'm gonna send out Matt's podcast, AJ's information, Josh's channel, Keith's chat, all of his information. It'll all be sent out, as well as the recording of this. It'll be sent out in an email later this evening. But if you got any questions, put them in the chat now. We got, like AJ said, what is the process of becoming a real estate agent? So the first step is when you signed up, you got a link and it talked about a discount on becoming an agent. So with that link, it should be 35% off. It's about $150 to a $200 course. It's a 40-hour course. You can take it online. You don't have to complete it in 1 week. You complete it in a few months. I did mine in a 3-month span. And after you complete it, you take the real estate licensing test for the state of Michigan. And once you pass it, at that point, you go through a real estate broker. So you could go through our brokerage, like Matt, he's a realtor. He's at Keller Williams. And at that point, you're in. Let's see, what was the next question? Oh, I can unmute you, AJ. We got a question. Why does your credit go down when you get a mortgage?
Yeah, it does go down because it's considered an inquiry, and I don't know the exact backstory behind why credit bureaus ding you for that. I'm assuming because the more you shop out there, the more risky you are. So that's why it goes down. But the thing is, with mortgages, it doesn't drop your credit score significantly to like 10, 30 points or anything crazy like that, because your mortgage or a house is a bigger investment. It's probably going to be the biggest investment you do have next to a car. So that's why it's only like 2 to 3 points. And most of the time too, you can recuperate those points back within a month when you're in process already, so, but that would be my best answer for you. In terms of the history of that, again, why it goes down in general, 1 or 2, 3 points or 20 points, whatever. I'm assuming it's because it's considered a risk when you do shop out there numerous times, I will find the answer for you though.
Let's see. We got another question. How long should you wait before applying for another credit card?
Yeah, that's a very good question. There's no time limit between applying a credit card whatsoever. So there's no limit saying that, hey, I applied for a credit card yesterday, I can't apply tomorrow. You just have to take in consideration that if you are applying for a credit card, most likely you will need to get your credit pulled. And when you do get your credit pulled, especially if you're in a mortgage process and your credit score, you want to make sure you maintain it at as high as possible. That I would wait until you move towards the closing process. So when you have a mortgage or applying for a mortgage, don't get your credit pulled. Don't go car shopping. Consult with your mortgage banker, like my team, or even let Sharif know about it as well. So overall, there's no waiting. There's no waiting in between how many credit cards. It's about what the right time is or what you're trying to do.
Thanks, AJ.
I got you.
Any more questions? Get them in. No more questions? Let's see. What's the most amount of credit you can get at once?
Yeah, it's a very good question. How many credit you can get at once? If you guys know the answer to some of these questions, so feel free to jump in or just add to the messenger as well. But in a sense, there's no limit to how many credit cards you can get. However, you want to be a little smart about it. You don't want to take 20 credit cards, 15 credit cards and not use it as well, you know? So it's not just about how many credit cards you take out. It's about how you're using it as well. So there's not really, from my understanding, there's no limit to how many credit cards you can take out. You just want to make sure you're utilizing it. It's not just sitting around. So you want to show activity.
Any more questions? If not, I'm gonna end it. Thank you, everybody, again. We got one more credit question. What's the most amount of points I can get? Is it 800, right? 850 or 800, something around that. 800.
Oh my God, I've seen it. I've seen like the highest one I've seen is like 800 and above. Yeah. So if you're like an A plus student, you're an 800. So yeah, absolutely. If you're in a 580, you're workable in terms of getting a mortgage. You know, anything below that, the most important thing is you guys are taking action and taking care of your finances and just doing it, you know, instead of sitting around. So you got to flex in those financial muscles bit by bit.
Oh, here.
I just want to piggyback on one thing that AJ said. So the highest credit score is over 800, but if you get your credit score to a 800, like you're going to pretty much get approved for everything. Well, specifically what you can buy based on your gross income, right? But I would encourage anyone that's on this call still, the number one thing is, how do you build your credit quick? Right? Because if you don't have any credit, what we don't want you to do is go out and try and buy something. And because you don't have any credit, you get a high interest rate on, for example, a used car, right? You go out and buy a used car. Next thing you know, you're paying 20% interest rate. The first thing that we want to make sure you do is develop and get you some trade lines on your credit profile. And that's from the secure credit cards, or in addition to having yourself added to your parents' credit cards or your grandparents' credit card. In addition, Michigan First Credit Union. Michigan First Credit Union will give you an unsecured loan. So, for example, if you have $1,000, you go over to Michigan First and say, I want to open up a secured loan. You take that $1,000, they're going to give you a loan for $1,000, and immediately after they give you the loan, they're going to give you your $1,000 back. It's like a transaction, but they charge you a transaction like an interest fee or something on the money, and you're going to pay that off. So say you get this $1,000 loan, your payment is $200 a month. I don't know what the payment would be. When you go in to pay your loan off, it's like a line of credit. You'll pay $200 on the loan, and you can go immediately and get $200 back. So you're actually just using your money to build credit. But the goal immediately is, how do you get some credit without making it harder for yourself to get buying power? And if you don't have any credit, your credit report, your credit profile is completely empty. Secure credit cards, 1, 2, adding yourself to your parents' credit cards or your grandparents' credit cards when they have a zero balance, and that will immediately get you some credit. And at some point, 2-3 months afterwards, you pull your parents, grandparents, and pull yourself off their credit card so that you have your own credit after you've applied for other credit cards. Now, one other tip: if you live with your parents, and just say, for example, you make $20,000 a year, you have some job that you just starting out, right? But you potentially may not qualify for a higher credit limit, right? Some credit cards, you got to double check when it says, what is your total household income? You can also include on the application your parents' income, right? You live with your parents total make $60,000, you make 20. What is your total household income? You could potentially add to your credit or your income an additional $60,000. It's only for specifically like getting credit card limits. It's not going to work if you're getting a mortgage. A hard money lender pretty much don't care, particularly if they know you got some money to put down. I think that hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you. Oh, here we go.
Okay, I wanted to say thank you guys for inviting me. It's been very informative. I appreciate it. Did you get my message there, Sharif?
Yeah, you asked me for a loan. You got to see AJ.
No, I didn't. But what did I say? I did send a message in the chat. Did you get it?
Oh,
Because
let
it
me
was
see.
for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Just want to encourage everyone to stop looking at the past and start focusing on what you can do right now.
Okay. All right, you guys. It's been informative. Thank you for having me. I'm going to sign out. Okay. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Miss Michelle.
All right. Any more questions? We got 5 more minutes. If not, Chase is just going to dance for 5 more minutes. We're going to all have a dance party. All right. If that's it, I'm going to end it. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Check your email soon. I'm going to be sending out the recording. All right. Thank you all.